Mr. Mark Dakes had just finished talking, visibly pleased that I had successfully used my skills to move over $20 million through 5 countries and 14 banks, effectively laundering his funds and shielding him from government investigations. My name is Mark Simmons, and I have earned a reputation as an expert on moving money, hiding funds, and protecting people from legal trouble. I avoid asking about the origins of money and stay out of my clients' affairs to protect myself from legal repercussions and to honor my moral principles. Although I am aware of my clients' questionable occupations, I adhere to the rule of not asking to avoid deception. My work generates a substantial income, and I apply my own strategies to manage 18 bank accounts in 10 countries, 10 cryptocurrency wallets, and a company that covers my living expenses and owns my assets. I receive an annual salary of $70,000 from the company for contingencies, providing a small profit for tax compliance. This approach protects me from civil suits, litigation, and divorce, allowing me to have a modest net worth and minimal income. Some clients offer me various incentives in the form of women, drugs, travel, and protection, but so far I have declined such offers. Recently, circumstances forced me to accept help with surveillance, protection, and some aspects of use of force from my business partners who were grateful for the help I provided them. My wife, Jen, sees me as a financial advisor, and she knows nothing about my income, funds, or offshore accounts. All she knows is that the company covers the mortgage, cars, and expenses, providing her with a comfortable lifestyle without having to work. I believe Jen was content and enjoyed being with me throughout our 5 years of marriage. Our relationship featured passionate and adventurous moments in bed, blending fun fantasy sex with love. It felt like paradise, but an unexpected storm was about to hit. Jen and I dated for 2 years and tied the knot at 25. After 5 years of marriage, Jen, now 30, with her captivating looks, seemed like any man's dream trophy wife. However, I discovered that before we got married, she dated a man named Josh Winters in college. Although their relationship ended when Josh joined the Marines, he recently returned to our city, rekindling Jen's unresolved feelings for him. Jen's behavior changed about 6 weeks ago, marked by increased attention and new sexual games with me. Suspecting her involvement with Josh, I confided in a business friend who quickly provided a comprehensive dossier on Josh Winters, detailing his life history. As I delved into the information, it became clear that my perceived paradise was facing a Category 5 hurricane. This guy, who turned out to be an old friend, sent my wife over 15 text messages per day. Initially friendly, the messages soon became sexual, and despite Jen initially putting a stop to it, she eventually started flirting back. Concerned about the situation, I sought advice from my business partners. Together, we decided that it would be best for me to confront them face to face during a lunch meeting. With information from a surveillance group helping me, I located them at a restaurant. As I approached their table, Jen and her acquaintance looked at me. I greeted her casually and asked her to introduce me to her friend, revealing my knowledge of their meetup. They sat together holding hands, and the tension escalated. I calmly requested a few minutes alone with my wife, and he reluctantly let her go. In the back of the restaurant, in a moment of intense confrontation, I questioned her choice of attire and expressed my disappointment in her disrespectful behavior. She stood there, crying, as I lifted the hem of her dress to check if she was wearing panties. Discovering that she wasn't, I reacted with horror and rage, forcing her to face her reflection in the mirror. In a commanding tone, I demanded an explanation for her behavior, expressing my frustration and disappointment. She insisted that there was a good explanation and promised to clarify, but my anger and concern lingered. "You've never heard from me before." I spoke slowly, emphasizing every word. "Obviously, we need to discuss this." If you have any hope of staying married to me, you will do exactly what I say. If you don't do this, then don't bother coming home because our marriage will end right now. You're going to grab your purse and walk out of here, looking straight ahead and not looking at your boyfriend. You'll go straight to your car, drive home, put on the coffee pot, and wait for me to come back. I will be no more than 10 minutes late. You shouldn't text or call your boyfriend or anyone else until we talk. I'm going to talk to your boyfriend and explain why you had to leave. I noticed that she didn't look me in the eyes, and I guess it was because she felt guilty about being caught like that. And one more thing, when you arrive home, don't change your clothes and stay in this dress. I want you to wait for me in the same form as now. If you don't fulfill my request, then don't even come home tonight. Then I'll call you later and tell you how things will develop from now on. Oh my God, what have I done? When Josh came to me, I was glad to know that he was safe and not in the military, as I had always been concerned about his safety. Josh was my first love, and it took me a long time to forget him after he left me many years ago. We moved away from each other, and although there was no longer love between us, I still thought about him. I know I love Tony, and he has been the love of my life since we met. I would never want to lose him or hurt him. That's why this sucks so much. Damn, Josh started flirting and saying things to me that he knew would turn me on. He always had a way of getting me to do things and act like a schoolgirl, and I hated the fact that I couldn't resist. I tried to push him away, but his constant flirting and sexual messages wore me down until I finally agreed to meet him for lunch. Talking to him made me feel so guilty and mean. I knew I shouldn't do this and that I should tell Tony about Josh coming back to town and that we talked, but I kept it a secret, and I regret it more than anyone can imagine. Josh has a way of making me feel like I belong with him, and when he asked me to wear something sexy, I said yes. I knew it was wrong and that I shouldn't even go to lunch with him, let alone wear that dress, but I knew I would do it. What made me suggest you come without panties? Am I really that shallow and stupid? Yes. When we were dating, he always insisted that I not wear them, and now when he invited me to lunch, it was like old memories just came back and became normal. I almost said no because I felt so guilty, but a text from Josh saying he couldn't wait to meet me set me on this path. It was hard not to tell Tony, but I just figured one dinner for old time's sake wouldn't be a big deal, just for a couple of hours, just like old times, just like he said. Josh knew how to get me to do things, even when I didn't want to. I'll be honest, when I saw him in the restaurant, I felt horny. I knew we had a special chemistry, and now he looked sexier than even I remembered. 8 years in the Marine Corps created such a mass of beautiful. My face turned red as he kissed me, and he helped me sit in a private booth. It felt like old times. We laughed, and it seemed like he never left. Being around him made me happy and excited. When he took my hand on the table, I felt safe and warm. We were only there for a few minutes, enjoying ourselves, when out of nowhere, Tony appeared in front of us. Suddenly, he sat down right in front of us with a sadistic smile on his face that sent a chill down my spine. My heart stopped as I realized what it looked like holding hands with another man. I saw pain and anger in Tony's eyes, and I wanted to jump over the table, hug him, tell him how much I loved him, and take away his pain. Intentionally hurting Tony was the last thing I wanted, but that's exactly what happened. The way he looked at me with disgust and contempt broke my heart. The man I've been with for the last 5 years was looking at me with another man, a former lover. I sat there frozen and speechless when Tony said he wanted to talk to me. I expected him to say it was over between us. When he pulled me into the men's room, I didn't know what to expect. When he lifted my dress to reveal I wasn't wearing panties, I nearly fainted. I can only imagine what he was thinking. At that moment, I felt like a fallen and cheating wife. When he told me to go home and wait for him, I knew I had to listen to save our marriage. I needed to make him understand why I did this. I had to fix this and agree to whatever he said. When he said he was going to talk to Josh alone, I feared for him. Josh is much larger than Tony, with 8 years of Marine training. I was scared Tony might get hurt. I tried to apologize, but Tony told me to go home and that he would be there soon. When he said not to change my clothes, I realized I was in trouble, and it would be difficult to explain my actions. How did I let Josh talk me into this? I didn't want him in my life. I just wanted to relive old times and have some fun. But from Tony's point of view, it looked like I was about to have sex with Josh. How can I fix this? I felt like everyone was looking at me as I walked through the restaurant to my car. I didn't dare look at Josh, and I knew he was wondering where I was going. It took me a few minutes before I stopped crying enough to drive home. It was the longest trip, and seeing the pain in Tony's eyes made me cry again. How could I do this to him? I can't believe I let Josh manipulate me like that. Somehow I have to get Tony to understand and forgive me. Damn, I'm so screwed right now, and it's all because of Josh and my stupidity. When I got home, I put on the coffee and sat there wondering what happened to their conversation. How long will it be before Tony comes home? Will he yell at me? Can I save our marriage? I need it. I don't want to live without Tony, and he needs to know he is the only one I love and want in my life. I went back to the table and chatted with Josh. Well, it looks like Jen won't be coming back, and I just wanted to chat with you. I'm sure you know that Jen still has feelings for you and is easily manipulated, as you have seen both today and over the past few weeks. Still, you have to understand that she is married to me and I am not going to share her. I'm not possessive, but I won't allow this to happen. You see, I'm not an unreasonable person. So today, I'll give Jen a choice. She can stay in our marriage or leave me for you, but not both. She'll make this decision independently without your influence. May the best man win, and if she chooses you, so be it. However, if she decides to stay in our marriage, she'll no longer be in contact with you. If you don't hear from her today, I expect you to never call or text her again. Do you understand what I'm saying? Listen, dude, I'll call or text her whenever I want. She's a grown woman who makes her own decisions, and she doesn't belong to you. I can guarantee one thing, she'll be with me again eventually. She can't resist the memories of our time together. Sorry, but you'll have to live with it, he said again with the same smirk. Oh, Josh, I hope you'll be a reasonable person. I mean, you're a handsome, big, and muscular guy. I'm sure there are hundreds of single women who would love to have you. Why can't guys like you just leave married women alone? You see, Josh, you may be a big, macho, nice guy to whom Jen still has feelings, but you underestimate me. Look, you don't know what I do for a living or who I hang out with, and that, my friend, is your first mistake. I know everything about you and what you did. By the way, how are your parents, Michael and Ingrid? They really love their two dogs, Casey and Mickey, don't they? You know, it's been over 4 years since you saw your sister Kate in Austin, and her three daughters are getting older. They would love to see their Uncle Josh. Oh, and your best friend Billy's girlfriend is pregnant and having a boy. I don't think she's told him yet, but I'm sure he'll be delighted. I've read all your text messages to Jen, and I have to say that you are persistent. Look, you may be a big, dangerous dude, but the friends I have in my work are ruthless and owe me a lot. Now, I grinned at him. Like you said, she can't resist you, but tonight we'll see who's the better man. Does she want a macho loser like you, or will she stay true to our 5-year marriage? See, Josh, I'm going to be objective. I'll give her a choice. Her decision will be simple. She can choose to be with you and leave me and our marriage. If that's her choice, I will respect it and wish you both the best. I will not live with a woman who wants another man, and I will not share her. It will hurt, but I'd rather let her go now and move on. Now, on the other hand, if she decides to remain faithful, there will be some changes for her. After her tryst with you today, you two have damaged my level of trust, and it will need to be restored. As for you, if she stays with me, you won't contact her anymore. This means no text messages, no emails, no phone calls, and no contact with friends. You will disappear from her life. If you walk into a restaurant and see her there, you will turn and walk away. If you're at a party or a club and you see her, you'll leave. You will not do anything behind my back or try to contact her because the pain you will experience will be like nothing you have experienced before. Your loved ones will pay for your stupidity. Do you understand what I said? Do you? You see, Josh sat there, utterly stunned, not knowing how to process what I just disclosed about his family and life. I emphasized the network of friends owed favors, friends one wouldn't want to be entangled with. Despite my seemingly meek demeanor, there's more to me than meets the eye. Now, the question lingers. Will he really offer her a chance to leave for me? I asserted that I am a man of my word. If she were any other woman showing such disrespect, I would have kicked her out and ruined her. But I love her. So I'll give her one chance, only one. By midnight tonight, if she cannot resist him, she will contact him and be his. The alternative is to forget, keep the wedding vows, and remain my faithful wife. If she stays with me, he'll be dead to her, no longer interfering in our marriage. Tony, I hoped he'd keep his word about letting us live in peace, because as he claimed, she would want to be with me. Josh, in response, attempted to sound confident and responsible, expressing his confidence in her choosing him. The man in the shadows stood up, gave Josh a long, angry look, and left after me. A minute later, Josh received a message about me having a bodyguard, making him reconsider my seemingly innocent facade. Driving home, I wondered if the woman I loved so much would ever be in my bed again. Would she choose him and leave me, or stay true to her vows? Upon entering the house, it was eerily quiet. She sat nervously at the kitchen table, tears in her eyes. Pouring myself a cup of coffee, I sat across from her. I didn't waste time, revealing that I knew everything, including her text messages to Josh. I made it clear that my business relationships involved people she'd rather not meet, allowing me access to this information. Addressing her betrayal, I pointed out that she showed disrespect by putting him in front of me. The dress, the suggestion of going without panties, all of it constituted treason. While there was no kissing, it went beyond deception. I expressed that I would never share her with anyone and would not tolerate a cheating wife. Despite my deep love, I had a question. When she was sitting with him without panties, did he touch her? Has anyone else in our marriage ever touched her? The answer was a firm denial, but I confronted her about her willingness to let him do it today. She began to cry again, expressing remorse for her actions. I apologize for my foolishness, Tony. If he had touched you, this conversation would have ended. It seems that apart from a few handshakes and text messages, nothing happened to end our marriage. While I am disappointed in your actions, tell me, why did you wear that dress flaunting your charms? Tell me the truth. Did you plan to seduce him and get him into bed? Oh God, no. I would never do that. It's hard to explain, but I just wanted to look sexy for him and relive some of my old feelings. I know it was stupid and selfish, but he just has a way of getting me to do things I never intended. I didn't want to sleep with him. You have to believe me, Jen. I want to believe it. But everything you did today raises a serious question that I need answered. I told you that I would never share you with another man, and I won't marry a woman in love with someone else. I'm going to give you a choice. Think carefully, because once you choose, I will never again accept betrayal or disrespect from you. I know you love me, and I understand your past feelings for Josh. That's why I'm giving you a choice, Josh or our marriage. If you want to be with him, I will let you go, treat you fairly in the divorce, and allow you both to live in safety without retaliation. Or you can stay in our marriage, remain faithful, and honor your wedding vows. It's a simple choice with long-term consequences. If you choose Josh, leave the house with your belongings by the weekend, and I will immediately begin divorce proceedings. If you want to stay married, you will not be involved with Josh again. Not today, not ever. He will be dead to you. I've already laid out the same demands to Josh. Never be in the same place at the same time, and I'll know if that happens. Jen, you have a get out of jail card today, a once in a lifetime opportunity. Choose between your ex-lover and your loving husband. I'm going to take a shower, and when I get back, I need an answer. Choose wisely. Before I left the kitchen, she blurted out, "Of course I choose you, honey. I love you and don't want anyone else." However, I reminded her that she had betrayed me, and despite her words, she needed to sit and think about it carefully. Rebuilding trust and overcoming the pain she caused would not be easy. I left her crying with her head in her hands, took my time showering, and when I returned, she hugged me, kissed me, and promised never to leave again. We reconciled, and our love prevailed. The next day, Josh realized that Jen didn't call him, and he texted her to convince her to leave me. But Jen showed me the message, and I was glad she didn't respond. I told her that showing me the text was a smart step towards repairing our trust issues. A few days later, Josh texted me, but I didn't respond. Jen and I were determined to move forward, and our relationship grew stronger. When Josh's parents managed to locate Casey and Mickey, he immediately called them and learned about their distress upon discovering the dogs were missing. It became apparent to Josh that he had hurt them by getting involved with Jen, despite Tony's warning. In response, I made the dogs disappear for a few days under proper supervision, emphasizing to Josh the seriousness of the situation. Following his conversation with his parents, Josh confronted me, expressing anger and demanding the dogs be alive, threatening consequences if they weren't. I warned Josh about the repercussions of getting involved with Jen, emphasizing the pain he would feel. This was just a small shakeup, and I assured him the dogs would likely be back soon. However, I made it clear that this was his last warning to never contact Jen again. Despite his apology and promise to stay away, the fate of the dogs was uncertain, given Josh's threatening tone. I hinted that their return was not guaranteed, and I was considering the consequences of his actions. Eventually, 3 nights later, Josh's distraught parents experienced tears of joy as their beloved dogs barked on their porch, unaware of what transpired or that their son was involved. Josh, relieved by the news, expressed gratitude after the dog's return and finally understood the gravity of the situation. He chose to stay away from Jen, relocating to another city to start a new life. Concerned about the possibility of Josh returning to Jen's life, I took precautions 2 weeks after the incident. I presented Jen with a postnuptial agreement drafted by my lawyer, stating that she agreed to give up everything, including rights to any children born during our marriage due to infidelity. While it couldn't guarantee the prevention of a situation like her encounter with Josh, it provided sufficient incentive for her to consider the consequences. About a year later, Jen became pregnant with their first child, and the couple grew closer. Jen, realizing how close she came to ruining her life, dedicated herself to making Tony happy and strengthening their family. The mention of Josh disappeared from their lives, and it seemed as if he never existed. The love and attitude Tony exhibited saved their marriage, and they moved forward learning from the past.